So, a disgraceful end. Luxury cruise ships seized by feds in the Bahamas. So, I thought this would be a pretty interesting story to kind of read. So, let's check this out. So, a luxury cruise ship operator is underwater and left passengers high and dry. U.S. Marshals seized a pair of popular cruise ships in the Bahamas Friday upon allegations that their Miami based owner, Crystal Cruises, has failed to pay out $4.6 million in fuel bills. Now, Crystal Serenity and Crystal Symphony had only crew members on board. According to Cruise Law News, while hundreds of passengers faced bedlam after being hurriedly booted off the ships before the vessels were seized, what a dreadful, disgraceful end to a so called luxury hashtag cruise line, tweeted Cruise Law News publisher and maritime attorney Jim Walker. A third ship, the Crystal Endeavor, the line's newest and most luxurious vessel, was seized in Argentina, and Cruise Law News reported Saturday afternoon. The Serenity and Symphony dumped their passengers in Bimini last month before setting sail for the perceived safety of international waters. The passengers, some of whom expected to cruise on to California, were ferried to Fort Lauderdale and then left to fend for themselves. Wow. So Costa Cruises leaves hundreds of travelers in the cold in long lines, no reps, no help for the older passengers, including my grandparents. They were stuck in the freezing cold for over 2 hours and then another 3 hours between the ferry and bus line at New York Times and at Washington Post. So that was by Dre Fuss Photo on Twitter. So 5 hours in, we get off the ferry only to find all the luggage dumped everywhere. Colors and numbers not together, luggage falling down, no porters, and no crystal reps. None. Serenity passenger Alin Jaffrey Schulman wrote on Facebook, no one giving instructions, no one helping the older folks. It was a shameful sight. Fuel supplier Peninsula Petroleum Far East filed a complaint in Florida last month seeking an arrest warrant against the cruise ships under U.S. Admiralty law, the Daily Mail reported. The ships unloaded their passengers and hit the high seas after a U.S. federal district court judge, Darren Gales, approved the warrant. Isn't that kind of funny though when you really think about it? You have luxury cruise ships on the run. So it remained unclear how U.S. officials had the authority to seize the ships in the Bahamas, Cruise Law News reported. Meanwhile, passengers aboard the Crystal Endeavor disembarked Friday as the ship was held in Ushuaia, Argentina by the country's maritime authority over some type of unpaid bill, Sea Trade Cruise News reported. The issue was resolved as of Saturday night, the site reported, and the Endeavor was allowed to set sail again en route to Uruguay. So we are unable to comment on pending legal matters at this time, Crystal Cruises spokesman Vance Gullickson told the Daily Mail. Crystal Serenity and Crystal Symphony's voyages ended last month and there are no guests on board. The officers and crew on board are being well cared for and staying in single accommodations, some of which are guest staterooms. We are making sure they are comfortable and able to enjoy the various amenities on board, and crew members have been paid per their normal schedules, and we are meeting and exceeding all contractual obligations. This, this almost kind of sounds like they just kidnapped the crew members, right? For anyone who ends up stumbling upon this, the way that they worded this, these statements, and just basically quickly try to do everything in their power to just leave the area as fast as possible. What kind of shady stuff are you guys doing? So Crystal Cruises is owned by Hong Kong-based conglomerate Genting Hong Kong. So this is going to be a pretty interesting situation. I don't really know what the outcome of something like this is actually going to be, but this is also one of the main reasons why if you get a bill, you pay it, right? So you don't have things like this come up, right? Because I mean, This is just like bad business practice. This is going to get people into a lot of trouble, a lot of issues. But what can you really do?